Hello everyone, Daniel here, and I'd like to address something that's been pondering in my mind for a while. As you all guys know, I'm a huge wrestling fan. I have my WWE Bootios shirt on, I'm gonna go right into the video here. I want to talk about wrestling in general here, and WWE in particular. And one thing I want to get off of my chest is my opinion on wrestling on a whole, especially the latest thing that's been happening with Vince McMahon being in charge of creative, or whether Triple H is in charge of creative. I'm going to get something of my views on what's going on in the wrestling world today. But before I get my views on of that, I'm gonna just take you back of what I grew up with, ladies and gentlemen. What I grew up with as a wrestling fan, I grew up in I'm 33, so I grew up in 3 decades of professional wrestling. Being born in '89, which meant I grew up in the '90s, throughout the 2000s and the 2010s as well. And so I've grown up with the WWF, WCW era and the end of the ECW era as well. Even though realistically to me, I never did watch any of the ECW and WCW stuff. I watched some of WCW back when I was a young kid, but not too much for what I can remember. I only watched some of the clips from WCW and some old shows of WCW and ECW a little bit later on in life, when I actually wanted to learn a bit more about the history behind the ECW and WCW. But apart from that, I used to grow up watching some small shows in England, and some small, and also mainly for my main focus was growing up with WWE, or WWF as it was known at the time. I am a huge, and I've been a huge fan since I was younger. And I'm pretty sure you guys that are watching this, I've also grown up with the one particular brand being WWE, most likely. Moving on throughout your life, watching different things like Ring of Honor, Impact, AEW, OVW, AAA, New Japan Wrestling, and many other wrestling shows. But we'll get back to those in a moment. What I want to talk about is that my growing up personally consists of mainly WWE, of the New Generation, the Attitude Era, the Ruthless Aggression Era, the PG 13 or PG era, and then there's a PG era, and also the modern era. Then, now, and forever together is not just a slogan said by John Cena at the beginning of each episode of Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and NXT UK, and every pay-per-view or premium live event, as it's called now. That's not just the slogan. That is what we've all been brought up on. Whether we've watched ECW, WCW, WWE, TNA, Impact, Ring of Honor, all those big wrestling shows, that doesn't just qualify for WWE. Yeah, it's WWE's thing, but for me, is that then, now, and forever be with me in my heart. Now, I'm going to now move on to the creative and the people backstage part. Do you want to know what I think about that? Nothing. I absolutely, because I, for one, focus more on what's going in between the ropes and in that squared circle, in the middle of that ring. The story, whether it be me watching old clips and modern day clips of Impact, watching some Ring of Honor stuff, watching the storylines being told on AEW, and even on mainly now on WWE, Raw, SmackDown, NXT. I don't really much watch NXT, but I have watched a lot of clips of it to know how great NXT has come, and NXT UK as well. I've seen wrestlers come and go. I've seen wrestling go through the good times, the bad times, the ugly times. We've lost some of the greatest legends of all in the wrestling business. I've seen WWE Hall of Fame ceremonies, and which again I want to talk about that as well. Me personally, I think that going on to the Hall of Fame, I think that it shouldn't just be quote unquote WWE Hall of Fame. I know that TNA have their own Hall of Fame, but there's a Hall of Fame for music as well. If you think about it, there's a Hall of Fame for boxing, there's a Hall of Fame for UFC. So my question is, as a whole, like we have all these WWE Hall of Famers, quote unquote, that have never stepped foot inside a WWE ring, but they have done a lot for the business. So my question is, why not change it to not going from WWE Hall of Fame and still have the same impact, still have these big ceremonies, but but go and change it to the Wrestling Hall of Fame. And maybe even have, because they're starting to collect all these memorabilia, I can't pronounce it correctly, but all these legendary items that belong to all these legendary wrestlers over for WWE are collecting all that, and they're going to have a museum for people to see, to come and have a look at. So why not just do that as a Hall of Fame museum where we can have sections where we walk into the front desk, and the first section we see is all about Andre the Giant. Then we can have the next section, which is about different museums have different sections in real life. So have then the next Hall of Fame section where we have a look at, maybe there's like a boot that belongs to the Macho Man Randy Savage when he got inducted into the Hall of Fame, and there's a picture of him in one of his greatest matches of all time, and clips of him on video screens. The same with from case to case to case of all the different Hall of Famers that have been in this WWE Hall of Fame over the years. So my personal opinion about that, I think it would be a great idea just to change it to the Wrestling Hall of Fame, and just bringing wrestlers, induct them into the Hall of Fame. It doesn't necessarily have to be every year at the WrestleMania season. I think they should be inducted any time of the year, adding a new section to the so-quote museum every year, or whatever. Because we're celebrating wrestlers for what they did for us, compared to WWE legends. So I think legends and wrestlers that have been in the business for more than 30 years or so, maybe 40 years in the business, and don't just give out Hall of Fame rewards to people that just can't wrestle anymore because they are injured or have been forced to retire. Let's take Edge's Hall of Fame career for an example. He managed to come back, and now he's wrestling great hell matches like he used to with Finn Balor at WrestleMania. So I think that it shouldn't be forced upon them just because they can't wrestle anymore. I think that they should be inducted into the Hall of Fame because they have worked a good amount of time in the ring, outside the ring. And again, it doesn't necessarily have to be wrestlers. It can be anyone within the wrestling community. Because I love the idea of the Warrior Award that they have. But the Ultimate Warrior said, and I quote, that this award needs to go to someone that works behind the scenes, works behind the cameras, and works for the WWE, and they have not been acknowledged. And I appreciate the thought and mind that goes behind the Warrior Awards. So some of them, like Conor the Crusher, God bless his soul, he was a huge fan. But I wouldn't want, like I have a disability myself, which you can't see, it's invisible, but I wouldn't want any, just because this person is a huge wrestling fan and they suddenly die because of an illness, that gives them a reward, a part of wrestling, when it's not exactly what the Ultimate Warrior said in his promo. It's a great gesture, a 100% great gesture, and I love the fact that John Cena has done over 800, 900, over 1,000 different wishes, granting the wishes, and that's a great thing to do. Give money to charity for that Conor the Crusher, set that up, but I'm not saying that they shouldn't have done it. It's a great gesture. I just think that the focus of the Warrior Award was not made around that. And in fact, it was actually supposed to be a mode made around the people that work in the catering, the people that work in the back, referees. They're starting to do that more now, but when it originally started, it was all about the special kids and special people. That's just my opinion. Like, again, there's nothing wrong with doing that, but I absolutely adore the fact that they give out these awards to the kids. But that wasn't the initial sentence that came out of the Warrior's mouth himself. God bless his soul. But yes, going on to rest back to the legends and the legends of the business, and of course going into the rest of this, the one big legend himself, who's been in the Hall of Fame twice, I think. As part of D-Generation X, and it needs to be part of himself, is Triple H. And now let's go back to that whole Triple H and Vince McMahon thing. Being a big fan of wrestling, I watch wrestling, and not that, for what it is. The entertainment perspective. I don't look closely for the small details. I don't think about, the backstage politics, what happens backstage. I don't think about any scandals that may have happened. I've never paid attention to any of that growing up. If I hear about it, and I think, oh, that's kind of interesting, steroid trial, when I've grown up, I've worked out what steroids are, and I've paid attention to the detail. And but when I was younger, when I saw this Bret Hart business with the screw job, I thought it was all part of an act because I was a fan of wrestling. I was into the detail. I was like, okay, Bret Hart just got screwed over the time. I thought it was all part of the show. Later on in life, I then realized that it was actually real. But my point is, as fans, I'm going to call us fans and not the universe, as they call them, I personally think you guys, me, you, we should not be concerned about what happens behind closed doors. We should, as fans, I personally think we shouldn't be going too on about, oh no, Vince McMahon's back in charge, it's all gonna go downhill, he doesn't know what he's doing. Well, I'm sorry, whether you love him or whether you like it or not, whether you love him or whether you hate him, Vince McMahon is a genius. There, I said it. Again, it's not a case of my opinion. It's technically true. He has, yes, admittedly, he has done a lot of crazy stuff. He's said and done a lot of stupid stuff that I don't agree with. And then there's a lot of people that are watching this video probably don't agree with. But At the end of the day, if it wasn't for him taking a chance with WrestleMania, I don't think wrestling would be as big as it would be now. I wouldn't be wearing this Booty-O's t-shirt because let's talk about the New Day. Vince McMahon actually gave, gave Xavier Woods, Big E, and Kofi Kingston the green light to give this New Day stuff a chance. It was either going to be sink or bust. I guess it was either it was going to go be good or bad. It turns out it's the best thing ever. So you can't sit there. You can sit there on your freaking computers and you're behind your freaking go make your videos or your top 5 favorite WrestleMania moments, or talk about the news of WWE Insider and listen to Dave Meltzer, and in my opinion, I do not listen to what he says. I've never paid attention to anything that Dave Meltzer says, because I am my own person. You are your own person. You are your own person. You shouldn't be listening to what other people say on the internet. If you want to agree with them, that's fine. That's your place to say. But have your own say. Don't be a sheep. Don't be going just because one person's like, Roman Reigns, they shouldn't be winning the championship. This is a Vince McMahon idea. Is it? Is it really a Vince McMahon idea? But cheer. Like, be a fan. Be a true wrestling fan. Cheer for the wrestlers that you want to cheer. Even if the wrestlers themselves are portraying a bad guy or a heel, as we know what they're called, If there's a tag team or champion or a stable or any wrestler from any promotion that you are watching, whether you watch AEW compared to WWE, that's fine. If you're watching WWE compared to AEW, that's fine. If you are not watching AEW or WWE and are a big fan of the Impact, fine. Whoever you are cheering for, whichever one you watch, let your voice be heard in that crowd. Whether you go to every live event, whether you watch every Raw, SmackDown, NXT UK, Impact Show, whether you're a casual person that watches it every now and again, or whether you are used to be a wrestling fan and you just pay attention to everything there every now and again, whatever show you watch, cheer, get into it. Don't worry about what's going on behind the scenes. If a wrestler so happens to get fired from your favorite, from WWE or AEW or wherever show you're watching, that's what they are there for. They are human beings like us. I work at a hotel. If I have done something so wrong, so bad that I get fired within the next couple of weeks, I'm gonna look for another job. That's what wrestlers do. Wrestling is not just a sport, but it is a business. TNA is a business. WWE is a business. AEW is a business. WCW and ECW were a business. NWA is a business. The smaller promotions that are found across the world, like Japan, Mexico, and even England, and Ireland, and all these minor shows, is still a business. It's not got the word professional in front of the word wrestling for a reason. Because at the end of the day, these guys are human beings. They have lives outside of professional wrestling. They have real names. Like, The Undertaker isn't called The Undertaker outside of WWE. His real name is Mark Calloway. He has a life. He has a wife and Michelle McCool and kids. The Rock is Dwayne Johnson. He has a Hollywood career, and outside of that Hollywood career, he has about 3 daughters and a loving wife. So no matter what your opinion is about on Vince McMahon, Tony Khan, Triple H, Stephanie McMahon, and all these big bosses, whether you like what they're doing or you hate what they're doing, don't let that be your focus. Let your focus be behind your, whether you're sitting in your chair watching a WrestleMania, watching an AEW show, watching a Raw, SmackDown, watching a WWE Premium Live event or a AEW pay-per-view, whatever you're watching, be the fan. Don't worry about what goes behind closed doors. Don't worry about that, because if you worry about what's going on, what Vince McMahon is doing, whether you think he's creative, backing creative, or whether Triple H is in charge, you're gonna lose your passion. That'll be like me, like worrying about, because I love also Marvel. I'm a big Marvel fan. I'd be like me watching a Marvel movie and thinking, oh my god, that actor, he's really stressed at home, and all this stuff is happening, all the director's really bad, and this is his worst movie ever. If I was to worry about the director and the actors behind the guys that I'll be thinking, then I will, and like if I when I'm go to watch the next Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and I'm thinking throughout the entire film, oh, this is Dave Bautista's last film. This is Dave Bautista's last film. He's got other things that he's going to be doing. Otherwise, me personally, I'm gonna be so worried about Dave Bautista that my passion will go away for what I love. So don't, in my opinion, I think people should just chill out, watch wrestling, and enjoy it. You don't have to like everything. Obviously, that is what you love. Like I for one, I'm gonna take the big name, which is out of the blue. I like Baron Corbin. What he does in that ring is amazing. It makes you want to hate him, because he's such a good at what he does. But if you don't like him, we can talk about it. I can say how much I love him, you can tell me how much you hate him. Because we're wrestling fans. And that is the thing, we are wrestling fans, and that would be great to have the discussion. And I can even discuss on how I grew up watching WWE. You don't like WWE, and you like AEW, we can talk about that. I will happily have this discussion. As long as you respect me, and I will respect you, and as long as you respect other people's opinions about whatever show, don't argue. We're not here to argue. Oh, WWE is better. No, AEW is better. No, Impact is better. No. That is not what being a wrestling fan is all about. What a wrestling fan is all about is, oh my god, I can't believe it. Roman Reigns cheated again. He can't do it without the bloodline. Oh, we're gonna have to watch for Raw to hope, seeing that Cody Rhodes can finally get his revenge, finally get his redemption. You don't watch it and go, oh my god, really? Seriously? That must have been a Vince McMahon idea. It must have been Vince McMahon must have changed it at the last minute. It must have been... No. No. If you are going to paying hundreds of pounds, hundreds of dollars, hundreds of euros to sit on the front seat, I don't know, freaking show, like pay-per-view, watching at WrestleMania, only to go home and go, that must have been a Vince McMahon idea. That means you've just lost your passion for wrestling. What you should be doing is cheering for Cody Rhodes, or maybe not cheering for Cody Rhodes. You don't have to like him, but I'm saying, like the wrestlers that you want to support, the wrestlers that you want to support. Cheer your hearts up. Let them know how you feel. Give them the reaction that you want. Discuss it in the WrestleMania amongst your friends. Don't sit there on your freaking laptops or your freaking phones complaining how it didn't go your way. I don't care if it doesn't. Yeah, I go, I will get upset and angry as a passionate fan, but then I tune in on to the Raw after WrestleMania to find out what happens. And if it's not as exciting as some of the other episodes of after WrestleMania, big whoop. I always say, at the end of my reviews, I go, oh, that was for me, that was 5 stars. I don't know about you guys. But that's my own opinion. That's me as a wrestling fan coming out. I'm not actually physically, realistically going, nah, that match was 5 stars. No, that match was 3 stars. That match. I'm not pulling a Dave Meltzer. I'm being a fan. I think that's what you need to do. Take it from me, someone that has been watching wrestling for their entire lives, and I'm being from the bottom of my heart, and I'm actually concerned about wrestling fans. I really am. And this is going to be the last thing here, right? I want to see more passionate fans that don't give a damn who is in the company, that don't give a damn who is running the shows, and who don't give a damn what happens in that ring. Is the important thing is that they enjoy every damn thing that happens. Yeah, we're gonna have, we're gonna have things that we don't like. There's gonna be a storyline that we're gonna scratch our heads and think, what the heck just happened? That's part of being a fan. That's the whole part of it. But yeah, I'm gonna end this now. Okay, that's the last of what I'm gonna say. Be true to yourself. Don't follow the sheep, and don't work yourself up about who is happening, who is in charge, what's happening backstage, blah blah blah. Be a true fan. Be a true wrestling fan, and if that is what you are, good. I'm glad to hear it. But yeah, thank you very much for watching my video. I hope what I said, you took it all into heart and realized that it's just my opinion, just a random 33-year-old that hasn't really got that many subscribers, and if you're willing to listen to me, fair enough, but if you don't, that's also fine with me. I just thought I'd let out my opinion, and I know my t-shirt is ripped, but I don't care. Anyway, feel free to subscribe, and until next time for another video, goodbye. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you like this video, click on the Master Chief icon to subscribe to my channel. And if you want to watch the previous video, click on the one on the left. If you want to watch the playlist, click on the one on the right.